I'm thinking that major target is achieved for today, and anything higher is good fortune. So my suggestion, if you were fortunate enough to just have a trailer going this way, you should take everything but your last little piece. And we'd said hit and run trading today, and good likelihood that this was, once we got back above this blue line, it could be trouble in a little squeeze. And this is the first indication of it right here. We said keep an eye on yesterday's high, and the rotational idea now you can start to see come into play. Still lunchtime, but the range has been stretched, and I believe the longs have won again yet today. Too early to tell, we're nowhere near the closing, but certainly it looks to me like the shorts have got a lot of work to do now in the next couple of hours to unwind this. So at this point in time, we're going to keep this chart on. I think this is the right chart. Definitely like the 30-minute charts. 10-minute chart got above here. 60-minute chart held. 30-minute a beauty. Absolutely a beauty. Can't ask for more than this out of a chart. So the daily chart still positive. 30-minute chart positive. 10-minute chart positive. This one here we had back here at the 5s. And then once we get into this kind of a sequence starting to rock and roll, here's your program trade. Boom. I'm going this way, big boy is saying. See, the inability of the shorts to break down earlier was the problem. Once you get them down here, you can't let it get back up here and get above. I said if it gets back above the line here, now all of a sudden the shorts are much weaker posture. And that's where the rotation comes in. So short, sorry to say, those of you who wanted the short side, not yet. And that's why I said earlier, make sure if you're thinking of shorting, make sure you have a stop. Yeah, I know you had you were break even, so you had no big deal there. I just like the idea of if it's okay on the 5-minute chart, it's going to be okay on the 10 and the 15, and that's why this was the key chart, And we'd said that earlier, that we could get, obviously take out both ends, trap one way, trap the other, and then finally get the breakout one way or the other, and we won't know. And I said there was a good possibility that we get this 22 to 23. I said Vader's target, he wanted this yesterday. I said maybe just a day off. So when we get to double down here, got to be very careful because we never broke the low by anything more than 2 ticks. And that's what I said, if we get the breakdown, it's still got to get past the 10s and the 11s, which I don't see happening, still don't. So anybody that's shorting now, all you're doing is trying to nickel and dime against the push. You're not thinking, okay, let's try it again. Right now we've got a higher high, and I said, reminder, higher highs, we're looking for that pattern. Higher highs, higher lows. And once you get this thing back up here and set, immediately understand the potential for this breakout right here, these 18s, just underneath yesterday's high, and then boom, then it just, okay, we're gunning the stops. And you can see just how long it took for this to build up. It took a long time today. So nowhere near the same quality as yesterday's trading. But the momentum trade, definitely this way. Yeah, the double bottom, right here. Well, it is a clear sign until This double bottom is, you know, is certainly, as I said at the time, this is a double bottom, guys. But we also said that we need to go back and fight, you know, the 19 idea. So this clearly is unresolved at this point in time, right here. But once it comes back in and then sits and cannot get under it, then this bar right here is really the start of some momentum. This is like oscillating here. Okay, it's like revving up the engine. And now you can see we're starting to make that higher high again. And really what happens is these traders here have no choice. You know, guys like you know, you got to break even. Why in the world would you ever turn a winning trade into a losing trade? So that's what causes this momentum, gunning for those stops. And, you know, I told you I hated to be the wet blanket at the party, but, you know, I just didn't agree with the premise that we were going lower. I just felt that we're not quite ready. One of the reasons that I become a little bit more understanding of the system in play is these bots are not afraid to go toe-to-toe at the ends. Obviously, the goal is to try to break them if they can too, but you know, if not, certainly the plan is to try to get a little bit higher and get closer to the ends of those bars, just as we did down here. So, you know, I told you my belief that this was a protected environment. You know, we've got the end of the month games, and I clearly did not agree with the idea that we're just going to plunge the way some people thought today. And I know nobody here expected to plunge. Sika's got the range right so far. He'd said he thought maybe a 10 to 12 point day. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Stops and risk management is the name of the game. And I applaud you for that. You can't take stuff like this personally. And I don't believe this is tradable. This is not tradable. You either take a position and you let it work just the way you were doing, and then you know, collect profits when you get where you want to go. I believe 24.75 is a potential target right now. So, you know, shorts, we're still during lunch. We still have a breaking out to some new highs here. NQ is showing some posture for now. And this is a squeeze trade. So anybody gets into the 23s to 24s, take it, and beyond that, you know, you've done very well in a day like today. That is what I call one of those digesting days. It takes time, and usually morning after trend day we love, but after yesterday we need afternoon after trend day. Need time to digest it and then say, okay, I'm hungry again.